name is Doris Alexander Knox. I was born at Tipper County Cotton Plant. I was born at home, his wife. I was born the 3rd of March, 1936. Florence Alexander and Norman Clay Alexander.
Were your parents from this
Tipper
area?
County. Tipper County.
They were both from Tipper County.
Mm-hmm.
And were their parents from Tipper County?
Uh-huh. Shirley Knox Creighton, Tracy Lynn Golden, Knox Golden, Jeff Allen Knox, Darlene Knox, Peyton, Aaron Knox, just said Darlene.
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, Darlene Peyton, yeah. And Felice. And Nell Knox Blackwood. Austin, Grace, Paul, Catherine, Ralston, Grace, Catherine, Paul, Fred, and Mary. There's one more.
You.
Yeah, me.
Were you the baby?
I was third. My daddy farmed. It was 2 other families lived nearby. My daddy's brother and some other people that we knew, the Robins. I don't remember ever going to school in Tipper County because we moved to Union County. And we went to Pumpkin Center. We lived on Ralph Wiseman's farm for a while. I can't think of the name of that school out there. The school is not there, it's just a church there now. We were a good ways from there, from school. We had to walk to school every day.
Was it a kind of like a 2-room school?
Something like that, maybe 1-room
Maybe
school.
one room.
Wasn't many people.
Did you have one teacher or 2 teachers?
One, I
Okay.
had one there. Mm-hmm. We moved, when we moved to New Albany, we was on Orange Road, down there where Connie McMillan lived. That's where we lived, and we walked from there to school.
When you finished with 8th grade, what did you do after that?
I worked.
And where did you work?
Oh, I worked Morris Jewelry, I worked at the store and at the house. I worked for a whole lot of people. I mean, I can't tell you all the people that I worked for here. Mabel Warren, Virginia Wilson. I just can't name everybody I worked for. It was a lot of people that I worked for. Then I worked for the Beasleys. We used to clean up the Beasley's house, and I used to work for the Beasleys. He was a dentist. It was downtown, up over, it used to be a bank. But you know where the eating place on the corner? Well, it's a jewelry store, I think. Is it Van Aken Jewelry Store? It used to be on top up there. You know when you cross the railroad?
Mm-hmm.
It's that first building, it has the top. That's where his office was. We worked there before we go to school every morning. Then I worked at the house too. I worked for his parents.
Where did they live?
They lived on Highland. We lived on Orange Road. Then we moved to town after my daddy died. We moved, we didn't farm anymore. And we went to school from there on Northside, on Peterson. That's where we lived, on Peterson. We walked from our house on to Cleveland and on down and cross the railroad and go up that hill. On that way, that's the way we go, the closest we could get to it. They had ball games, you know, it was Union County Training School. They had a big gym, and they used to play ball there. And I can't think much more that they had. They had this little building off. They're remodeling it now from the school. It's a little snack bar-like thing. I remember going there a lot.
Would you ever go get your lunch there?
Sometimes. But then I would go down to Folsom. Folsom had a store down there. It was the Folsom, and then it was the Hills, right down from the school. It's on the same street. You cross the road, there's one going this way, one going that way. You go down the hill from the school, and it was sitting, you can't even tell that where it was, but it wasn't far down there. On the right-hand side as you go down. Mrs. Boo's store was up on the hill about Hall Chapel. And then, I'm trying to think of this man's name. He was a minister. He had a store right down the hill, right on the corner. Somebody lives in the house now.
You said your
Oh, it was Boo's. It was Boo's store.
Okay.
That's up on the hill by that church. Just
Okay.
across the road from Hall Chapel.
Okay. That was the other store.
Mm-hmm. And I think that down the street where the gym was, I think Miss Kilpatrick had something down there. I think she had a little shop down there. It's Annie Kilpatrick. Sunflower Shopping Center down there. They had a big grocery store. We used to go there a lot. It was across the street from the bank on the corner by the flower shop. It was across the street in that building. They're painting it now.
How old were you when your dad passed away?
12.
What happened to him?
He got killed out at Glenfield going across that railroad track.
Did a train hit him?
Train hit him, killed him instant. We had a new car, tore it up. It was, see, I was 12, and my sister was the next, and they were, small. They were smaller than me. So I think about 3 years older than she is. And then my brother, he's 79, so he was young. But I remember it well.
Was there anybody else in the car with him?
No. He just dropped my oldest sister off at school. He's on his way back. It was really sad after he passed because wasn't much going on, and we couldn't farm. Was nobody to farm.
Yeah.
So we moved into town and had little odd jobs. It was hard, but we made it. I don't remember ever being hungry.
Did your mom have to
She worked.
find work? What
She
did
had to work
do?
too. She babysit a lot. Mm-hmm. Miss Bright is one of them that she babysit for. And I don't remember who else she babysit for, but she did a lot of work.
And then y'all started working when you were old enough?
Well, we worked on until I got married. I think we only left 2 at home, my baby sister and my baby brother. They were on 2 that was left at home. He was killed on 49. So it's been 70-something years. I knew things was going to be hard, after he passed, because he was a really good provider, and my mother too. So they taught us how to make it, and we all made it. Hard work, and they paid nothing. I don't know how but back then bread was selling for 15 cents a loaf. You could get a sack of candy for a penny. My brother and his wife, and my oldest sister, then my other sister and my brother. Well, all of them in the north except me. My husband was in the military, so I moved around with him. And after he retired, we moved back here.
When did you move back here?
71. I was pregnant with my last baby.
What part of the military was your husband in?
Army. Mm-hmm.
Did he join the military or did he get drafted?
I think he got drafted because he's 93. Because he went to Vietnam. That's the last war he was in, Vietnam. Yeah, he retired in 71.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I lived in Fort Sheridan, Illinois. I lived in Belvoir, Virginia. I lived Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and Fort Hood, Texas. I know that many places.
Lots of Army bases.
Lots of Army bases.
Did you like that life?
Well, I didn't have much time to like it. I was taking care of the kids.
How many
I
children
didn't
did
work.
you have?
I had 6. They were all born in, except one. They were all born in the north. I had my oldest daughter was born in the Army base in Illinois. In one Army, it was the Navy base, Great Lakes Navy base. She was born there. Then I had Tracy and Jeff in Saginaw, Michigan. Then I had Darlene in Houston, Texas. I had Aaron in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Then I had Nell in Tupelo. We had moved back. We moved back in April, and she was born in August.
Your brothers and sisters had moved north. Did they find a better life there?
They did. My brother had a hard time finding, getting a job. But he worked odd jobs. Then he finally got a good job. He worked for Steering Gear in Saginaw. He couldn't work around here. They fired him because the people kept bringing scrap iron, and he told the boss he didn't pay for overtime. And he worked hard all day, and then they'd bring it in, time to quit. And he told them, said, I'm gonna do it this time, but I'm not gonna do it anymore. So he had a lot of his friends out there, and he said, catch it, Alex. He called him Alex. His name was Ralston. And he said, catch hell. And he fired him. So then he tried to get a job around here because he had 10 acres of land. He had planned to build. And he had told everybody, don't hire him. He told everybody, don't hire him. Every time you go, the McGills had a place out here where the wine place, out here on 78. And he went out there, and the man told him he's paying $1 an hour. So when he went to work, he had worked an hour. And they were complaining about he don't want you to hold your head up. He wants you to study working. And he said, for 50 cents an hour. And he said, 50 cents an hour? He told me $1. He quit and went up there and asked him how much he paying. He said, 50 cents an hour, and I can get him all day. He should get you another one and pay me. So he couldn't get a job anywhere because nobody would hire him. And they wouldn't pay anything anyway. So he packed his car and a trailer, and he moved to Saginaw. And he did really well, really well. My next oldest brother, he was in the military. And then my baby brother was in the military. He was in Air Force. And when he got out, then he went to Michigan. And my other brother, he went to Michigan. So most of them are up there. I have one sister in Waukegan, Illinois, Catherine. She's in Waukegan. She left. So after I got married, I was moving around, so I lived, a lot of different places.
How long did your mother live?
She died at 65. She had an aneurysm.
Was she still here in New Albany?
No, she was in Saginaw.
Oh, she moved too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody left.
Mm-hmm.
Is the house that you grew up in that was in town?
No, it's no longer there.
It's no longer there.
No. It's over by Mattie Thompson on Peterson Street. Just a street down from the school.
What happened to that house?
Well, it was old and they tore it down. All those houses that were there, they destroyed them. Because there used to be a lot of houses over there. Even where the school was, there was a community there.
Before that school was built?
Mm-hmm. And then they had a store on the corner. That's the school. Is right on the corner was a store called Mr. Powell's. And we used to go up there a lot. Just shop for candy and cookies. Because one lady, she stayed on Peterson Street. It was Virginia Jones. She had a beauty shop over there. That house is gone. The beauty shop's gone. There's a lot of stuff. It's gone that I can't remember. I mean, to go over there, you know where it was, but it's all torn down.
The block that Maddie Thompson is on, before that school was built, you said that was just full of houses?
Yeah, it's full of houses.
What kind of houses were there?
They just regular houses, a lot of black people lived in them.
And then what happened to those people?
They died out, and some went north. Hmm. That's where we would have been if my dad had lived, because he talked about moving north.
That was his plan?
Hmm.
Okay.
My dad was just 43. He was from Temple County too. But I didn't meet him until he was in the military, and a cousin of his brought him by to meet us, and that's how we met. We were together for 7 years because he was in the military, and I was here. So that's how we met. Been married for 63 years.
How old are y'all?
He's 93. He's 92. Coming up 93. And I'm 85. I got a birthday next month. I live on Bretton Road.
Okay.
I live up the street from the rehab in the highway patrol. Been out there since '74. Yeah, we lived on Peterson too. We have a house on Peterson that we lived in after we moved back. So we moved in there. And then we built the house on Bretton Road. We moved out there in '74.
Did you ever know the lady who your street was named after?
No, but Edd Morris told me that her name was Aunt Rose. He told me all about him. I used to work for him. She had these 2 sons, and Joed told me that street was named after Aunt Rose. Said she was an old black lady, and said if she had been living, she'd been over 100 years old. He wrote another book. He wrote a memoir of his mother, and Jimmie Rodgers bought it and brought it out there and gave it to me. He wrote another book. He wrote a memoir of his mother, and Jimmie Rodgers bought it and brought it out there and gave it to me. It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about his mother.
Okay, I'll have to read
I
that.
told him, I said, I could tell you a lot of story about your mother.
Because you worked for his family?
I did. She owned a jewelry store. Well, a jewelry
Jewelry
store. Then I worked at the house. The house is on Cleveland where she lived. He told me all about a lot of stuff, but I knew the whole family. Yeah, he told me a lot of different stories.
Did you know him as a child?
Oh, yes, I did. I worked at the house when he was going to school, him and his brother. He lives in Tupelo, and his brother lives in Jackson. He said he was coming up here.
Yeah, I'll have to read that book.
It's good. My name's in there one time.
Really?
He said it would have been more if he had known where I was. He didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
I said, all you had to do is ask Jimmie. She would have known. I've been knowing Jimmie a long time. My daughter went to school with Ted. Her and Jimmie, they're real close. And she's got a son that sings. He's in California, and he sings for Kanye West. And Jimmie's his godmother. He's got a record coming out. Well, you know he can sing.
Yes, I do.
When they dedicated the bridge downtown, there was a train coming through, and they said, you know you can sing when you're out singing a train. He calls me all the time. He calls me Granny.
Granny.
They all do. He talks to Jimmie. I got about 17 grandchildren.
Wow.
And probably a dozen greats. And he was in the middle. He went overseas five times. And I had him. But I did well. I didn't never lose nothing. Never had to get anybody out of jail. They never got into anything. We went to Moses Chapel in Cotton Plant.
Oh.
And then we went to Stewart's Chapel. It's You can't tell it ever been there. Well, you know that preacher one Sunday, he got up and preached and he sat down and he died in that church. You know where the barber shop is?
Yes.
Well, it's right behind it.
Oh.
That big church.
Like Golden Gate?
Yeah.
Golden Gate.
Golden
okay.
Gate. Golden Gate.
The preacher just died right up there on the...
Uh-huh. He sat down and died.
Were you at church that day?
Mm-mm. I go to Cotton Plant now. I go to United House of Prayer now at Cotton Plant. A lot of them graduated, but they had fathers. See, it was different because my mother would have been the only one to work because my sister got sick. Then that's why as far as I went, we wanted to make sure that the two smaller ones would graduate, and they did. My dad would have made sure we got to school. He wanted all of us to graduate, but just wanted to be.
Yeah. Life took a different
Yeah,
turn.
because when we moved to these different places, he told them in the first that we had to go to school was first. He made sure we went to school and we had what we needed to go to school. When people say, you know, food and things go up so high, my parents knew how to make it. My mother used to can 500 jars of fruit, vegetable, and we had plenty food. We had anything you wanted. We grew peanuts, popcorn. We make hummus. We had sweet potatoes. We had plenty of everything. So we never went home for nothing. We grew popcorn. So we had everything. We had big gardens. And I still can beans, and I make jelly. I made some jelly 2 weeks ago. I made some blueberry jelly. There's nothing to it. I got a cake that, whenever I can catch you down here, I'm gonna make it and bring you some. It's like, it's called material cake. It looks like brownies, but it's not. It's called material cake, and it's delicious. I never found one person that didn't like it.
I would love
I
that.
make them all the time, and I can cook.
I'm sure you can.
And all my children can cook, and all my grandkids can cook except one. They're all good cooks. All my sons and daughters can cook, and they can cook. I taught them all. That's how you make it. I taught them. My husband would tell me that the boys didn't need to learn how to wash dishes. I said, oh yes they do. I said, because you don't know if their wives, if they're gonna stay with their wives, or they're gonna leave them, or what happened. They need to know everything the girls know, and they do. They know how to babysit. They know how to cook. They know how to clean. They know it all. They know as much as I do. My baby daughter, she got a full scholarship at University of Louisville, Kentucky. She graduated in basketball scholarship, and she was inducted in the Basketball Hall of Fame in Louisville, Kentucky. When you go through there, look for her picture and her name. Her name is Felice Knox Blackfoot. They played Myrtle. Myrtle had 55 points. New Albany had 74. She played for New Albany, and she had 52 of the points. And she has a daughter playing. She got a 4-year scholarship at Kent State in Ohio. She's good.
Wow.
And she loves it. She went to Belgium and played. And her coach came over here one time and he looked her up. She couldn't speak English, but he had a daughter that could. And she would speak English for her. And she lived with them.
That's really
But she and her husband had been to Africa. He's been 5 times. She's been 3. My kids are well traveled. Me and Shirley went to Peterson, London, and Bryan was 9 years old, and he sang over there with a choir, Louisville Boys Choir. He was a soprano. We saw a lot of stuff. I saw where Diana got killed on that bridge. You saw the chip off the bridge. We went a whole lot of places over there. We went to the Buckingham Palace. We saw those little guys with them 10-gallon hats on. My daughter Tracy has a daughter. She works with abused women's, and they take them to court. They pay and take them to court, and mental health. She's in Las Vegas. Her husband's in the military, and he's going to retire in 29. He wants another rank. He's already a pilot. I have a grandson that's a policeman down in Jackson. He lives in Madison. They just had a baby. But I told my children that they had to graduate, and if they didn't want to go to college, they didn't have to. But you got to be out of the house before I do in the morning time, going to a job, and I better heard you made it. My children, they're so good to us. Nell came down, she stayed almost a month. She moved from Louisville to Buffalo, New York. And then she came down, stayed almost a month. And then she left on a Sunday, and my son came in from Murfreesburg on Monday. And he's been here ever since. He's been here almost 2 weeks. If he stays here the Monday, he'll be here 2 weeks, but he says he's going home Saturday. But he works from home. So he's not missing that, but he sees it, that everything get taken care of. We don't have to worry about anything. No bills, no nothing. They take care of everything. I'm thankful because I raised him. And they told me, said, we all are raised. And said, if we doing things we know business, we know better. It's not on you. But you know, you can't raise a child and party with them. Well, yeah. I tell you, when we moved back, my husband's going to Korea. I don't remember what year it was. But I kind of had a time trying to get my kids in school. And I'm just plain, they had just started integrating. And they had as many blacks in school that they wanted. So when we moved down here, I tried to get them in school, and he told me maybe next year. He said the school was crowded. And I said, yeah, the one we came out was crowded too. But when the military tell you to go, you got to go. So I said, my husband go over there and sleep in tents, and my kids can't go to school. It's not finna happen.
Where was that you were trying
Here.
to get them? In New
Mattie
Albany?
Thompson. Yeah, I lit up the street, 1 block from school, 1 block. And they want me to bus them all the way to Ford. See, it's not happening.
So
That
they
wasn't
get
gonna
in?
happen. Yeah, we got in. I wasn't going nowhere. We was gonna go to that school, or we wasn't going. You know, I was gonna see if I could find the president and tell him what's going on. I don't play that stuff. It was integrated up there. I mean, everybody went to the same school. Everybody went to the same playground. And that wasn't happening. I wasn't gonna take them kids up. I'm a block from school. Didn't happen. They called me the next morning and told me to register kids. We went on up there and I got them registered and got them in school. Cause we were in Fort Belvoir, Virginia then. We kind of been around a lot of places, and my kids have been, they're in all kind of places, overseas, and grandkids too. They're well traveled. They travel all the time. They won't tell me. They think I worry about it. Well, I told my children when they graduated from high school and college to leave. I said, you can make more money. They all got good jobs. Grandkids too. Well, Bryan told his grandfather he was a little old bitty boy. We'd be disagreeing with one another, and he said, Papa, you're not gonna win. I tell Bryan now he's never won.